dear students. My name is Dr. Dipanwita and we are here today to discuss the syllabus for the domain political science for the CUET exam. So in the previous few lectures, you would have already seen the kind of pattern that's going to be followed for the CUET examination, the different sections, the kind of MCQs, the mark scheme and so on. So for the domain political science, this comes in section 2 of the CUET exam, wherein one has to address 40 MCQs out of 50 at a time of 45 minutes. That means that you would have to be pretty fast with your marking and understanding what the question is asking. So the demand of the question is very important. So let's go through the syllabus of CUET political science. So if you look at it at the beginning itself, it is all about the politics immediately after independence, that is the first 3 general elections. In these elections, how the Congress party came to power with its grassroots organization. Along with it, there's a brief mention about the major opposition parties such as Swatantra Party and Bharatiya Janasangh. So this is the first topic. Of course, the 3 general elections would be very important to understand and to in terms of the examination. So it is very important for you to understand what really took place, what was the result and how Congress won the majority. The second topic is nation building and its problem. This is towards the partition. So what was the aftermath of the partition, especially the refugee resettlement issue. And this topic also has the Kashmir problem, the state reorganization, wherein Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel played an important role, and the political conflicts over language. That is how language became a concern for creation or reorganization of states. Right, so in this topic, of course, the state reorganization is very important, especially how the princely states like Hyderabad, Junagadh were brought into the ambit of India, right, the nation of India. In this topic, these couple of issues should be focused on. The third topic, large topic, is politics of planned development. In this, the 5-year plans are looked into, especially the first 3 5-year plans, and how there is a key concern between agriculture and industry, wherein the state, in which sector would the state be focusing more on, putting the finances more on. So the 5-year plans, the first 3 5-year plans is the focus of the third topic. So in this topic, the focus of your preparation should be on this 5-year plans and the kind of structure they had. Apart from this, it is important to look at the Green Revolution and its political fallouts. Because in this subtopic, the focus would also be on the minimum support price that is given to the farmers in northern India, and why was it a need at this point of time, and what is the impact today. So this is where the focus should be on when you talk about the third topic. So if you look at the fourth topic, it is about India's external relations. In this, the emphasis will of course be on the non-alignment movement, that is Nehru's foreign policy, how the NAM came up as an alternative policy during the Cold War. Apart from that, of course, the wars that India fought during this period, the Sino-Indian War of 1962, the Indo-Pak War of 1965, and of course the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971. The focus, of course, will be on the wars and the policy. Although there is a subtopic of India's nuclear program, this is not a very important topic in this subtopic. Why? Because the focus out here would, of course, be on the alliances that is being made during the Cold War. And during the Cold War, NAM was a very important concept. So that is why it is important that you put your focus into these topics rather than the other tiny topics that are involved. Okay, so let's move to the next bit of the syllabus. So the fifth topic is challenge to and restoration of Congress system. that is the problem of political succession after Nehru, the non-Congressism that came up, and the Congress split. The split in Congress R and Congress O. Then we have the victory in 1971, elections, and Indira Gandhi's politics of Garibihata. In this is a very important topic. It's a topic that has got a lot of dates, lot of fundas to be remembered, right? Especially about the Congress split and reconstitution, as well as the politics of Garibi Hatao. So these two topics have had an important aspect when it comes to the Congress party, the party that had the majority in the previous elections, suddenly splitting up due to fractions, and then you have Congress R under Indira Gandhi becoming and coming to power in 1971, and then the politics of Garibi Hatao. Of course, the next topic would flow from the previous one, and this topic is all about the emergency. Again, a very important topic from the perspective of CUET exam. This topic has all the reasons, the causes, the immediate as well as the long-term causes for the emergency period in India, starting from the movement in Bihar and Gujarat. You have the bureaucracy and judiciary issue. Then what happened during emergency and the impact of the after emergency. This also leads to the topic of formation of the Janata Party. So this is a very important topic. This topic should be something that you are really, really confident about when you sit for your CUET exam. The seventh topic is about the regional aspirations. In this, there's, of course, the regional parties that is coming in. Punjab crisis and the anti-Sikh riots of 1984. This topic, of course, flows from emergency. Then the Kashmir situation and challenges and responses in the Northeast. My submission is to focus more on the Northeast part, even though it is slightly difficult, but when you're reading and you're revising your syllabus, focus more on the Northeast element. The rise of regional parties would include regional parties like DMK and the AIDMK. So again, there are bits and pieces where you should focus on, but Northeast is where it should again be in your fingertips when you come for the CUET examination. Then we move on to the next section. Rise of new social movements, farmers' movements, women's movement, environment development. So you'll have the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Chipko movement, the anti-Iraq movement, and so on. This topic also has the Mandal Commission report and its aftermath. Now this is a very important subtopic here. So you should also focus on understanding the Mandal Commission report and what was the aftermath, the reservation and all of that should be something you should revise again and again. The ninth topic is democratic upsurge and coalition. So the rise of coalition governments in the form of BJP and JD, Janata Dal, the increasing role of regional parties and coalition politics, the NDA government, the UF government, the elections of 2004 and the UPA government. Now this is important because for a long time when we have had Congress coming into power and it was the majority in the elections, we have now we see a lot of coalition governments coming to power, being there for a few months and then falling. After that, we have a long patch of 10 years wherein the UPA government came into power and it was still a coalition government, but it provided stability to India. So this is the reason why this topic is something that it's relevant from the current perspective. And when you're attempting your questions, the most questions would be coming from the elections of 2004. Then the next is challenge and responses to globalization, new economic policy. The new economic policy refers to the 1991 policy, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization, and the rise of OBCs in North Indian politics. Now, this is a topic that is in continuation to the Mandal Commission report. Dalit politics in electoral and non-electoral arena, challenge of communalism, Ayodhya dispute, and the Gujarat riots. Now, this is also an important topic, but here your focus should be on the rise of OBCs, Dalit politics, and of course, couple of questions from Ayodhya and the Gujarat riots. Okay, so this is about the first part of your syllabus. The second part of your syllabus would be about the contemporary world politics, which would include the Cold War era. Now, the Cold War era would all be about the emergence of the power blocs. In this case, the US and USSR, the different arenas of war, the non-alignment movement, where we had taken up from Nehru's foreign policy, right? So even though these are mentioned in different topics, please understand that there is a sense of continuity. So it is not going to be very, very distinct questions that is going to come up. So there's not going to be a question on Nehru's foreign policy and NAM. There's of course going to be an interlinking of that. So be prepared for that. Then India and the Cold War. What was India's stand in the Cold War? The second is disintegration of the Second World and the collapse of bipolarity, which is basically the collapse of USSR and the emergence of the various countries from the USSR. In this, you would have to focus on the causes and the consequences of the collapse of USSR, especially looking at Gorbachev's policies. India's relation with Russia and other post-communist countries is also a point of focus that you would have to keep in mind, that especially the Treaty of Friendship that India had signed, because that really marked India's moving away from NAM despite what India claimed, right? So this is very important. The third is US dominance in world politics. Of course, after the collapse of USSR, US emerges as a superpower, and the superpower element is shown through the hegemonic stability theory, and what US does is moves towards several wars. The first Gulf, 9/11, and attack on Iraq and Afghanistan. So this is where US is important, and in this topic, that is India's renegotiation of its relationship with USA, it is important that you keep the current affairs also in mind. What is the current relation between India and US? Again, following through after the collapse of USSR, we do have certain centers of power coming up in international politics, like the European Union, China, ASEAN, and so on. And what is India's relation with these countries? So that is the fourth topic. Fifth is South Asia, the relations that each country has with each other, the kind of wars that have taken place, the peace moves that have been made, and the role of SAARC in the region. So it is important again to focus on the India-centric part, that is India's relation with the neighbors, and as well as the importance of SAARC. So in this topic, focus on SAARC mostly. The sixth is international organization. This topic deals with the UN mostly. It talks about the restructuring of UN, the reforms needed, and why the reforms are needed, and so on. So this is about international organization. So in this topic, remember what is the basic structure of UN, why the reforms are needed, and what is India's stand on the reforms, right? So that is about the contemporary world politics. There is, so there are few more topics. Security in contemporary world politics, which talks about traditional and non-traditional. Traditional as in the military component, the security threats emerging from different countries, terrorist organization, and so on. And non-traditional talks about human security, global poverty, environment, human rights, and other such issues. So the focus again, or the importance should be on non-traditional security, because that's a very new aspect in international politics, and we do see that in IR it has become the go-to topic of many political scholars. Next topic is environment and natural resources. Here we are going to talk about the environmental movement that has taken place, the conflicts over traditional and common property resources, rights of indigenous people, and India's stand in global environmental debates, especially the Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, and such agreements. Here also you should focus on the North-South division. What is global North? What is global South? What is the reason behind this division, and so on. And the last topic is globalization. So basically, again, what is globalization? What are its impact, the consequences of globalization, the anti-globalization movements that we see, and what is India's relation with globalization, and its struggles against it, right? So this is the some of the topics or the entire syllabus of the CUET exam for the domain political science. I hope you have understood which topics to focus more on, which topics you can just skim through, because even though it seems to be a vast topic, and there would, of course, after giving your board examination, you would have already revised these topics. But before the examination, the MCQ pattern of questions is important. So practice as much as possible. Have a grasp of the nuances. It's not going to be a question about a broad question about what are the causes or what are the consequences of a particular event. It would be more of, do you think that this is a cause? If yes, mark true, false, and something like that. So the MCQ questions would be on those pattern, understanding your conceptual clarity about this issue. With that, I wish you all the best for your CUET examination. Thank you.